Oh man, I need a break from that that place. It's like a bloody hellhole. It's pitch black. I think someone's hiding a nice little bit of Bunsen burner, nice little Urner behind here. And tank one, if I fall over that uni-strut one more bloody time. Morning everyone! It's bloody raining, so I'm glad I'm not going outside today. Quite an interesting one today. I won't give away the game now. You've probably seen the thumbnail and the title, so it's pretty pointless me saying that, but when I get there, I'll show you the job and we're going to crack on. Might be quite interesting. You never know, we might learn something today, yeah? Okay, so here we go. A little bit different this, isn't it? So, what has happened in here as they've ripped out these two old gas-fired cylinders, okay? We've now got two cylinders here. I didn't know they were going to have immersions in, but apparently we've got immersions. They've installed a new boiler, and then we got two port valves here. Basically, we'll be controlling these tanks off of the tank stats. So when this does get heated, but it gets heated off the district main, okay, which is here, okay. This gets heated off the district main. That doesn't get the tanks hot enough, so we need the boiler or the immersions to be able to kick this temperature right up. So when the tank stat drops, it'll bring on the boiler, and that will then heat the water to the temperature, and then obviously the tank stat will kick the boiler off. So quite an interesting one. I'll crack on and I'll show you as much as I can. So frustrating. I'm in catch 22 now. I don't know if they want those immersions wiring up. Now I can't get hold of the chap because he's elsewhere. And if I go in there, there's no signal, so he's not going to ring me. So now I've just got to wait in the van for him to call me, which is friggin' annoying because I just want to crack on. The isolator is also locked off, so I can't do any work here until the chap who's locked them off comes back with his lock-off kit to unlock the isolators for me. Hey ho. Right, I've spoken to the boss man. We're going to wire 1, 2 immersions off of 1, 2 isolators, okay? So we've got heater 1, heater 2. They're 16 amp supplies, so they're perfectly adequate to power 13 amp immersions. I'll then piggyback one of the supplies to power the boiler here, and then we'll have to put some sort of little box somewhere to take these cables to the 3-port valve. So we got live, neutral, earth, and then we've got a boiler enable, and then one of these will be like the switch line, so that will come from the tank stat, okay? That'll then kick the boiler on to bring these tanks up to temperature. Quite interesting. The board's over here. It's quite interesting for you guys to see. And the guy has also locked off the supplies. Look, I don't know if they're 3-phase actually, I haven't checked, but obviously I can't get the isolator covers off. Okay, what I'm going to do here, because it seems stupid putting 2 isolators down there for the immersions, so we use these for the immersions. I'm going to bring some SWA. I'll disconnect these SYs because they're not doing anything anymore. I'm going to bring some 2.5 SWA out of the isolators, round here and down here. One will stop off here with a whisker box, and then we'll bring a 2.5mm heatproof flex up to that whisker box. That'll be isolated from there. We'll do the same to that one. We'll also tag off of this box metal clad spur, which will provide power to this system. I'll then run a cable from a wiring centre here to pick up the two port valves and the tank stats, and then this will wire straight into there, and then I'll bring a flex from here or whatever to the wiring centre, so when the tank stacks drop temperature, they bring the boiler on to bring the temperature back up. So it's fairly simple, but at least I know what I'm doing now, so we'll crack on. Right, the chap from their estates is on his way. He's going to take off his locks, and so I'll take control of the circuits. I can then put my own locks on the circuits. It's fairly safe, to be fair. I could just disconnect those SYs, put the covers back on the isolators, and then there's no chance of anything becoming live anyway. So I'll only do final connections once I've done all the work anyway. So I'll put some locks on the MCBs in the panel, in the distribution board, and yeah, I'm waiting for him to come now, so hopefully I'll be able to go and get some materials. I got here early, it's freaking 9 o'clock now, so that's live. But as I can see, this cable is 2.5, so I'm well within my rights, because it's clip direct, to upgrade those breakers. What I'll do is I'll go and show you. So I got confused. I assumed that the ones that were locked off were the chap that that locked these off, but it wasn't. I'm not sure who's put that on there, but if I can remove that, I think that was the gas. I don't know why he's put that on there, but it's these ones here. Look, the single phase ones here. We're 701 here, so one's on a maintained supply, non-essential. One will be on a essential supply, so it'll be generated backed up. And then we got this one over here. Look, so they're 10 amps, so we might have to try and get some breakers for these and change the that'll be at a later date, so I might have to just upgrade these breakers basically. There we go, I'm back. Can you believe it? Grant & Stone in Oxford didn't have any 20S storm glands. Shocking. Picked up some 2.5mm heat proof flex, a metal clad spur for the boiler and to control the wiring centre. What I was impressed, they had two big B16 Schneider. Look, so Merlin Germain and Schneider are the same company, yeah. I did have to get some normal whisker SWA glands. Picked up a couple of whisker boxes, 308s. We're going to go in, crack on, and get the hell out of here. I'm going to mount a box here and a switch fuse spur connection unit, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to mount it here. I'm going to make these off first, then poke the cable that way, rather than making them off on the isolators, then being struggled in here trying to make it off. So I'll make it off out here, you know what I mean, and then I'll slide it in, fix the box, and I can run the cables away from me that way. It's just a lot easier, you know, not struggling. I've got these flat-jawed, look. These are flat-jawed grips, and they do a great job of not scratching up the glands. Yeah, a lot of people moan about scratching up glands, but these do a fantastic job of not marking them at all. Look, beautiful. So I can slide my boot on now, and then this end will be going into the whisker gland, and then the other end will go into the isolator. I'm gonna have to go and grab the torch and the laser in a minute, so I can laser up the lines. And obviously you've got a tank, the laser will stick to the tank. Well, I think it will. I don't think they're copper tanks, so they might be. It might be stainless. So I'm just putting in the flex now for the immersions. I will show you in a second. Right, let me show you now. So what we got is one immersion here. He's going to flex along there, and then you're going to flex into that whisker gland there, into that whisker box. That will do that one. I might even put the spur here now for the boiler, because that little flex for the boiler is probably long enough to come here, and then all the wiring centre will be here, and it's easier to work this end than it is to be squashed in that end. Yeah, my wiring centre mounted here. What I'm going to do first is get the armoured lasered in. As you can see, I've started to put some cleats in. I'll get them lasered through and out that way, and then what I can do is cable tie these control cables, if you like, off these thermostat and the motorised valve. I can cable tie those to the armoured, and they'll go back to the wiring centre there. And in a couple of P-clips, low level, look, just to keep those cables off those pipes there, look. Yeah, nice gap there still, look. I've just thought I've made actually made a bit of a cock up on this one. So if they kill the immersion feed, it's going to kill the feed to the boiler. So what I'm going to have to do is, what am I going to do? What am I going to do is connect that one there into here, and then going to put another whisker box here, and I'll move that rotary isolator there. I'll move the rotary isolator to here where I've put that whisker box, and then the rotary isolator will do the immersion, and then that won't kill the supply to that boiler as well. So the rotary isolator for the immersion will be here, and then the isolator there will do the boiler. So yeah, sweet, I sorted it out as I was talking to you guys. Right, immersion heater is connected up. I haven't rectified this yet, but what I'm going to do now is connect up this tank stat. So they go in here, look. they're effectively just a switch, okay? So when you set this to whatever temperature you want, this will monitor the tank, and then when it drops below that temperature, it will kick on. It will then open the relevant valve, which will be this one. It will then, when that valve opens, the orange will come live, which will power the boiler, and then vice versa. It's fairly simple. So we'll take the supply through to this stat here, and then when this clicks on, the supply will go from here to the stat, to the valve, and then from the valve to the boiler. So it's fairly simple. It's just a little bit annoying that this crap's all in the way, but that's life with these jobs. You've just got to get over it. So that's got continuity, and then when that gets to the temperature, that'll click off like that, yeah? Hopefully you can hear that. So at the minute that would be heating, heating, heating. When it gets to temperature, it'd click off like that. Superb. Right, there's that one connected. I should have clicked that back in before I put the lid on. There we go. No. Ah, epoxy thing. I'll have to take that off because it doesn't go on without that lid on anyway. And that's the thermal cutout. If ever it's gone over temperature, that will thermal cut out and kill the power. You might find that that's popped out when you come in, click that, and then your boiler and all that will start back up, yeah? Right, I'm isolated and locked off at the board. What I'm going to do is use this one because it's essential. It will stay on with the generators, okay? So this will do the immersion and the boiler. This will just get a whisker gland on here now, and then I can re-site this isolator over there for the immersion. And then this one will just be marked up as immersion for this tank. It's quite simple now, and I'm getting there now. Oh man, I need a break from that that place. It's like a bloody hellhole. It's pitch black in there. I'm just making up 2 earthing lugs with these piranha nuts. So I'm just crimping on some 1.5mm singles to make some fly leads up basically for them SWAs. Yeah. Okay, there we go. That one just tightens down with an Allen key. And that one is now the earth fly lead for this armoured. I can then armoured earth this down with the main incoming feed, and that'll earth the armoured and earth the cable, okay? So now I'm just going to get a whisker box, put that one here into a whisker with that new one, and then I'll move this isolator, which is actually that isolator, over to that immersion heater. Right, so I've whiskered that supply off there. So there's no isolation that will kill both of them at the same time now, which is what I messed up before. That will do the first immersion, which will be this tank, which I will mark up. And then he runs along here. Now I move the immersion switch, which will do the immersion on the tank here. And then the supply, that one will do the boiler supply to the wiring centre, which I'm now going to make off. Right, what I'm going to do now is work through these methodically. I've put all my CPCs away, my neutrals, okay? And then as I know where each of these cables go. If you didn't know, you'd have to label them up, but I can physically, you know, follow them all. That's the valve, that's the tank stat. So it's fairly easy for me, but if this was in a heating system in a house, you'd have all your cables labelled up. This isn't that different to a heating system in a house. We've just got 2 tank stats rather than a thermostat, so I could treat one as a thermostat if I wanted to. They are thermostats, they're just controlling the heating on the tank or hot water rather than heating in a house basically. Right, there we go. Doesn't need to be terribly neat as long as you can understand it, which you can. You've got your CPCs and your neutrals, and effectively what happens is supply comes from the isolator, will permanently feed the 2 motorised valves, okay, and also permanently feed the tank stats, okay. When the tank stat is not calling for heat, the supply will stay there. As soon as it calls for heat, the supply goes down the switch line, it will then switch on the grey of the either motorised valve. It will switch on the grey of the motorised valve. Once the motorised valve opens, that will liven up the orange, which will in turn liven up the boiler and fire up the boiler. So it's as simple as that, okay? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Right, there we go. Tank 2 immersion isolation switch. We've got joint feeding, tank 1 immersion and boiler, and I put the circuit reference on there. I've also labelled the tanks, tank 2 and tank 1. If I fall over that uni strut one more bloody time. And then I've also labelled these up, tank 1 immersion and then boiler. I've got to stick a 3 amp fuse in there and get the hell out of here.